I want to show you some very interesting pieces of Disneyland history. It's these old buckets. Now, to tell you about them, let me show you some photos I took in 2005. This was the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. During that time, they had these 50s all over the park, and I took pictures of all of them. There was a Mickey 50 high above City Hall on Main Street. Many of them were themed and very creative. Mr. Toad's monocle was replaced in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
The Haunted Mansion had a 50 that looks like it was embedded in a web.
In keeping with the cartoony feel of Toontown, there was a stretched 50 over by the Jolly Trolley. And It's a Small World had a beautifully themed golden 50 on the facade. The next year, Disneyland had a big sale. They called it the Dream Sale. They had a lot of those 50s that you could buy, and I was hoping that just maybe I could buy one of them, but by the time I got there, all the 50s were already sold. In fact, all the good stuff was sold. That's a sign from the New Orleans Square Frontierland train station, sold. There's the old Fantasyland Theater sign. That 50 was on the Columbia sailing ship. Here's a photo of it on the ship.
That's the stretched one that was over by the Jolly Trolley.
This was a big crown that was on Sleeping Beauty Castle for the 50th. There were just a lot of different props and things that were at Disneyland, and you didn't necessarily know what they were from. If you recognized it, you were lucky. There was even a People Mover vehicle, and that was already sold too. But I found these buckets, and I was just thinking, what are they? You know, they look pretty old, and I picked this one up, and then it hit me. This was actually a gold ear, because over on Tom Sawyer Island, they had 3 buckets. And it was a big bucket with the 50 painted on it, and then it had 2 golden ears over it. I'm like, this is amazing, because right next to it, I'm going to put this one down, was the other gold ear. And I knew I had that picture, and I thought, wouldn't that be neat if I hung these up, and underneath it, I'll put a photo of the 50 with the 2 gold ears above it, and it'll show that these were, in fact, in Disneyland. Now, I went over to someone and I said, how much if I want to purchase these 2 golden buckets? And they said, we'll give it to you for $5. So I was walking away and I was really happy. And then I thought, wait a minute, those 2 gold buckets were over a bigger bucket on the island. What if the bucket that they're sitting in has the 50 under it? I went back and I lifted it up, and look at that. So this was the 50 with the 2 gold Mickey ears right above it. And this was on Tom Sawyer Island. And there was a price on the bucket for $25. I just have a feeling that they never looked under it and just thought it was a bucket. Certainly they would be selling it for a lot more money if they knew. That's my son and I just moments after we peeked underneath and discovered what was there. Oh, and if you love Disney history and you love Disneyland artifacts and animation artifacts and everything, please subscribe to me. It'll really help. Leave me a comment below, hit the like button, and do all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Let me show you some of my pictures that I took of some of the other 50s that were around the park. There were some really cool ones. One of the whimsical lanterns above the Mad Tea Party was one of the 50s. High above the Dumbo attraction, one of the storks in the decor was now a 50. A little more subtle was one of the shields at the Matterhorn. Benny the Cab wore a 50 in front of Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin. A gold Mickey 50 was added to the Astro Orbiter in Tomorrowland. Inside Innoventions, the audio animatronic Tom Morrow had a 50 written on his memorandum pad in his transparent pocket. Over by Space Mountain, the Imagination Institute, where Honey, I Shrunk the Audience took place, had its own 50. There was a 50 embedded in the rock over at Splash Mountain. There was a wooden 50 surrounded by spears at the Jungle Cruise. A tiki version of the 50 was at the Tiki Room. The Tobacco Store Indian, as they call it, had one of his badges replaced with a 50. Some canteens and a bucket formed a Mickey at the Frontierland Stockade. Over at the Frontierland Shooting Arcade was a 50 with some gunshot holes through it. The Mark Twain had a 50 with a banner that read, "The Happiest Homecoming on Earth," which was the slogan that year. It was a real exciting year at Disneyland, and this 50 was a big part of the Disneyland 50th anniversary.